A third Exalted March was called, and a contingent, led by an Alsatian chevalier named Sir Michel Lafayette, forced the Qunari out of Kirkwall. The march pushed on and the war turned in favor of the ruling Thedosians. By 784 storm, the third new Exalted March on the Qunari ended. The Qunari maintained only one stronghold on the continent, the city of Contarin-Revane, but the cost of dislodging them was high. Much of northern Thedas was laid waste. The Lomrian Accords were signed between the Qunari and every nation except Tevinter, ushering in an uneasy peace. This only scrapes the surface of the continent's long, storied history. For a more detailed account, see the timeline of events that runs the length of this book. Geography and climate. Thedas is a vibrant, diverse land of arid desolation, verdant forests, and frigid mountain ranges. Often climate and geography vary widely over short distances. The volatile, volcanic marshland of the Nahashin marshes in western Orlais, for instance, could not bear less similarity to the fertile heartlands some 3 days east. Cutting through the middle of the continent is the Waking Sea, a boozy waterway lined with some of the continent's biggest cities, including Valroyo, Cumberland, and Kirkwall. The sea connects to the mighty Amaranthine Ocean, so massive and turbulent only the bravest dare venture far off the coast. In the southern regions, temperature changes grow most extreme, as heavy precipitation spells severe rains, and, in fair Eldon especially, harsh winters. By contrast, heat reigns in the north. This is most pronounced in the dry steppes of the Andafels. The inhospitable region offers little more than oppressive heat and blowing dust. That which might lie beyond the known world is of great interest to scholars. Few people have explored and few have documented the northern reaches islands like Saharan and Parvolin, and the impenetrable jungles of the Dunlocks. What lies still further north, and indeed, across the Amaranthine, is anyone's guess. The Qunari, relatively new to Thedas and perhaps the only race with the means to travel so far, actively suppress any knowledge of where they came from and why they left. Selections for the Botanical Compendium. Deep mushroom. Deep mushroom refers to the entire group of fungi that grow underground in caves and many parts of the dwarven deep roads. Collection can be a dangerous task, as the deep roads are often infested with darkspawn. Because of this, dwarven merchants often recruit casteless hirelings for the job, and pay them a meager percentage of what they earn selling the mushrooms to surfacers. The most common varieties used in the herbalists' trade are the blightcap, ghoul's mushroom, and brimstone mushroom, almost all of which tend to carry the darkspawn's corruption. While they cannot transmit the disease, this trait often makes them quite poisonous. Only experienced herbalists should handle deep mushrooms, and no one should consume them without adequate cleaning and preparation. Careless consumption can cause insanity, severe abdominal cramping, and even death. Elfroot. The elves of Alathan first used elfroot, hence the name. The root gave their medicines particular efficacy, so when the Imperium conquered the elves, the magisters adopted its use, and its popularity spread to all corners of the empire. Elfroot is a hardy plant with larger green leaves that grows wild in many places. It's so common that it tends to appear in most gardens and fields like a weed. Unlike a weed, however, most people appreciate having access to the wonderful little plant. The roots can be used with little preparation. Rubbing some of the juice on a wound, for example, will speed up healing and numb pain. And chewing on a slice of root treats minor ailments like indigestion, flatulence, and sore throat. There are several varieties, but the most useful for herbalists are the bitter, gossamer, and royal elfroots. Deathroot. Deathroot has been used in magic and potion making for centuries. It's a fragile-looking plant with a thin stalk and purple flowers, which fruits once a year, developing bright red, fleshy pods that cause disorientation and dizziness if ingested. There are two varieties. Archon Hadrianus first found the more common Arcanist deathroot when he discovered it growing on several dead slaves. The other, Lunatic's death route is most closely associated with the story of the courtesan Melusine, who sought revenge on a powerful magister and his family. She harvested the plant, baked it into small pies, and presented them to the magister at a banquet. Terrifying hallucinations seized the guests after they ate the pies, and they tore each other to pieces. Excerpts from the Botanical Compendium, by Nisaranja, botanist. Troubles of a Chantry Scholar. As students of culture, it is important to always recognize your biases. I wear my Chantry perspective openly, for if my readers do not understand the lens through which I view the world, they cannot account for how these biases may color my writing. Gathering accurate information is challenging in a place as vast and fragmented as Thedas. One man may go on at length about lurid dealings with a king, then refuse to provide his name or some proof of the account. Other sources may conflict wildly. Fixing travel to some of the more remote areas of the continent is nothing compared to the difficulty I have had finding contacts I can trust. I cannot tell you how many times reputable people have tried to deceive me, sometimes for personal notoriety, more often in the interest of a pet cause. Trustworthy Qunari, Dalish, and Tevinter contacts are especially scarce, and I prize those I have kept friendly. Often it is I who must earn their trust. Texts too can be unreliable. From extensive readings, I have determined that Andraste was a fair old Denolshin who was born in every town from here to Hosberg. What little remains of elven history has been told and retold, shifted and skewed, until the tales are unrecognizable. I have particular respect for the dwarves, for there is no other people so obsessed with recording an accurate and complete history. If only the Shapers were as open as the skies they fear. If I can be honest, the long reign of the Chantry has made the recording of reality at times a trial. Most common histories have been rewritten through the filter of my religion. Everything has meaning as it pertains to the Maker. And while this is unavoidable, it sometimes leads to conflicts between what is officially taught by the Chantry and what I have seen with my own eyes. While my belief in the Maker is absolute, only a fool would ignore the lessons to be learned from other societies and religions. Take the Fade, was it the kingdom of the Maker, as common knowledge dictates, or the realm of the Tevinter old gods? Few people would contest its existence, but beyond that, there is little agreement among scholars. Though there are many who would disagree with me, I have come to believe nothing is for certain. I've met too many people in Enkun. There are too many perspectives not to keep an open mind about these things. Excerpt from a lecture by Brother Genetivi at the University of Volay, delivered shortly after the release of his seminal work, In Pursuit of Knowledge. The Travels of a Chantry Scholar. Mountain Guide to Thedas. Frostback Mountains. The treacherous frostbacks run from the Qunari wilds of southern Fair Eldom to the banks of the Waking Sea. They are home to the robust human tribe known as the Avar, and, beneath the Ranges northern foothills, most of the continent's dwarves. The entrance to the dwarven city of Orzamali is in Gleen's Pass, the only frostback passage safe for year-round travel. Hunterhorn Mountains. The massive Hunterhorn Mountains stretch across southwestern Thedas like crooked fingers. The largest mountain range in Thedas holds some of the continent's tallest peaks, including its highest, Mt. Ambrosia. In the southern reaches lie the Gamorden Peaks, which cradle the abyssal reach, and on its edge, the Warden Fortress Adamant. The Marc Mountains. The Marcs are a steep range that runs along the northern shore of the Waking Sea in the Free Marches. At the foot of the range sit the city-states of Kirkwall and Markham, as well as the Planocene Forest. Noteworthy landmarks include a span of jagged waterside cliffs known as the Wounded Coast, as well as Sundon Mound, said to be the site of the final battle between the Elven Empire and the Tevinter Imperium. A massive grey warden prison that once held the ancient darkspawn known as Kuraphius is embedded in these mountains. Time and Calendars. Chantry Calendar. The Chantry Calendar is the most common in Thedas. Its first year honours the appointment of the Chantry's original head, Divine Justinia I. Unlike other calendars, The chantry marks time by ages, each 100 years long. At the end of each age, chantry scholars name the next. To do this, they look to the current state of Thedas and watch for signs from the Maker to help predict what will come. Currently Thedas is in the 9th age of the chantry calendar, known as the Dragon Age. It was predicted to be a time of great destruction and upheaval. To say this prediction was accurate has proven an understatement. Anything prior to one divine is known as the Ancient Era, and the years, counting backward, are designated with negative numbers. The world of Thedas. Ages. There have been 9 ages since the formation of the chantry. Divine Age. 1. 1 to 1. 99. Named to celebrate the reign of the first divine. Glory Age. 2. 1 to 2. 99. Named for predictions of a grander birth after the devilization of the first blight. Towers Age. 3. 1 to 3. 99. Named upon the completion into 99 glory of the Grand Cathedral in Valroyo, its towers visible for miles around. Black Age. 4. 1 to 4. 99. Named as the chantry called for retribution against the Black Divine. Installed by the Tevinter Imperium to rule its imperial chantry following the schism. Exalted Age. 5. 1 to 5. 99. Named during a period of near constant war with the Tevinter Imperium that included multiple exalted marches. Steel Age. 6. 1 to 6. 99. Named after Queen Madrigal of Antiva was assassinated during a hunt. She was found with 4 steel swords in her chest. Storm Age. 7. 1 to 7. 99. Named as war with the Qunari raged. The leaders of Thedas called for a great storm of violence to expel the invaders. Blessed Age. 8. 1 to 8. 99. Named by the chantry as an age of bounty and prosperity. Dragon Age. 9. 1. Present. Named upon reappearance of dawns, long thought extinct. Months. The current 12 months and 4 seasons that define a year are rooted in the early years of the Tevinter Imperium. Except for the chantry holidays after the Second Blight, the months and primary seasonal holidays remain unchanged after more than 2,000 years. Each 30-day month has a low name, largely used among the common classes, as well as an official high name. Only courts and scholars use the month's alternate names, based on the original Tevinter. The high names are included below in parentheses. Winter March, Verumensis, Guardian, Pluitanes, Drucanis, Nubilis, Cloud Reach, Eluvista, Blooming Tide, Mulierus, Justinian, Ferventis, Solus, Solus, August, Matrinales, Kingsway, Parvulus, Halfsmere, Frumentum. First Fall, Umbralis, Herring, Cassus. Holidays. The majority of Thedas, from Tevinter to Fair Elden, celebrates 5 major holidays, each rooted in the early years of the Tevinter Imperium. Except for the tied to the transition of a season or the beginning of a new year. First Day. The traditional start of the year. This holiday involves visits to neighbors, and in primary seasonal holidays remain unchanged after more than 5 years. Y involves visits to neighbors and family in remote areas. This was once an annual check to ensure everyone was alive, well as a town gathering to commemorate the year past, accompanied by drinking and merriment. Winter Send, once called Ertalis and dedicated to Erthomil, the old god of beauty. This holiday has now become a celebration of the Maker. It stands for the end of winter in many lands and coincides with tourneys and contests at the proving grounds in Minrathis. In southern lands, this holiday has become a day of gathering for trade, theatre, and, in some areas, the arrangement of marriages. It is celebrated at the beginning of Pluitanes, Summit, once called Andoralis and dedicated to Andoral, the old god of unity. This holiday is universally celebrated as the beginning of summer, a time for joy and, commonly, marriage. Boys and girls ready to come of age don white tunics and gowns. They then join a grand procession that crosses the settlement to the local chantry, where they are taught the responsibilities of adulthood. Summit is a particularly holy occasion in Orlais. It is celebrated at the beginning of Mulieris Finalis. This holiday was once dedicated to the old god of silence, Tumut. However, since Tumate's rise during the first blight, Thedosians turn a blind eye to any old ties between the day and the dragon. The holiday is now known across Thedas as All Souls' Day and spent in sombre remembrance of the dead. In some northern lands, the people dress as spirits and walk the streets in parade after midnight. The chantry uses the holiday to remember the death of Andraste, with public fires that mark her immolation in plays that depict her death. It is celebrated at the beginning of Matrinalis, Saturnalia. Once dedicated to the old goddess of freedom, Zazakel, but now attributed more to the second moon, Satina. This holiday is accompanied by wild celebration, the wearing of masks, and naming the town fool as ruler for a day. In Antiva, Saturnalia lasts for a week or more, while the week of fasting follows. In more pious areas, large feasts and the giving of gifts mark the holiday. Saturnalia is celebrated at the beginning of Umbralis. Thedas Calendar. The people of the Thedas Imperium do not honor the authority of the chantry or its calendar. Citizens of the Imperium follow their own calendar, which predates the chantry's by well over 1,000 years. The Thedas calendar starts at the date the Imperium was founded and the first archon was crowned, marked as OTE. Past history is counted back with negative numbers, much like the chantry calendar. Thedas abandoned the use of its calendar briefly with the creation of the chantry calendar, but returned to it after the schism. Elven calendar. The Elven calendar was established with the formation of the city of Alathan. It was used for more than 6,000 years, only to be banned when the Thedas Imperium sacked Alathan and enslaved the Elven race. Modern scholars outside of Thedas recognize the existence of the original Elven calendar, although only a few key Elven dates have survived the passage of time. These include the first contact with dwarves in 3000 FA, 4600 Ancient, the arrival of humans in 4500 FA, negative 3100 Ancient, and the founding of the Thedas Imperium in 6405 FA, negative 1195 Ancient or OTE. The founding of Alathan is marked as 1 FA, the earliest recorded date in the history of Thedas.